Is another wonderful Wednesday night sports delight because this is ladies' night. Oh, and shout out to our favorite viewer. Hi, Miss Williams.
Miss Williams.
Brought to you by none other than Smoooth.
That's whenever you see Joanne, not Joe.
Oh, the alter ego.
Roll now.
Look, I would have had this on if I had known it was going to be that kind of party, but apparently.
I mean, and that's just my one excuse to look silly on the sidelines, and I'm totally okay with it because I'm doing my job.
All right, Coach Willis. Well, speaking of
football fans, you got the Swifties that are all about football, and Travis Kelce's Instagram, I think his followers went up 300,000+.
Telling y'all, when you get on this show on the Ladies Night, boy, I tell you, you are bringing people's careers to a whole nother level. I'm telling you. So here.
Everyone, welcome to the Platform Sports Talk Show. It's your girl, Buddy. I'm glad y'all are here to join us for another wonderful evening.
And want the teams that want you back, St. Louis. I want that for y'all.
I was like, well, Brandon, does Michelle Smallman text you at 11:45 at night?
Let them know, right? No matter the time, it came through, right?
Yes, I thought that was really dope.
She seems to cause a buzz because you know what? Bad publicity, good publicity, they're talking about it.
So for some of these guys, they're like, even if I do win, it's not going to be enough for some people. So why don't I just go ahead and get the money?
Living the dream. I do it all the time. I'm a dream catcher, right? So I chased the dream and I caught it.
Because I took this crazy leap of faith in May of 2011 at 23 years old to buy a basketball team. And everyone thought I had lost my mind.
Just kind of shed light, like, women coaches, like, hey, we bring it too. we bring it.
What up, what up, what up? It's your girl Bunny. And guess what? You are on the Platform Sports Talk Show. And I have my little sidekick, Butterball, with me as well. Happy hump day, everyone. And I'm glad everybody is tuned in. Make sure. Leave all comments. If you're on Facebook, leave all comments under the Platform Sports Talk Show. Whether you engage with us, we engage with you. Also, you can shoot on over to YouTube. We are also streaming live on there as well. And make sure. If you want to know what's going on with the Platform Sports Talk Show, who guess what's going on, what time they're going live, just ring that bell, please. Just ring it. See how excited she is? Also, we are on Hot 365 Radio, where it's always. And if you happen to miss our shows live, no worries. You can always catch our shows archived on the Roku channel. We are also on Twitch. And even though this is a special edition of Ladies Night, no worries. The fellas got a spot too. The last Wednesday of the month, the fellas hold it down with the Man Cave. And last but not least, it's the special edition of Ladies Night. So, of course, I'm not the only lady that's going to hold it down for us, am I? Oh, no, of course not. Because we have none other, all the way from the Boondocks, Miss Jo Bo. Come on down.
What's up, Bonnie? I almost said happy Wednesday, but it is Friday Eve. So happy Thursday. Happy Thursday.
Everybody know it's a special edition of Ladies Night. So I said hump day, you all. My apologies. I was on automatic pilot. Happy Thursday.
I thought we were on Tuesday.
Girl,
I thought we were on.
I've had a heck of a day, y'all. So I can understand why my days are getting mixed up anyway. But I'm happy to be here for special edition. Jobo had the nerves to have her subtitle called Ghost Rolls. We're not going to talk about that now. I guess later she can touch on it, but we like automation.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, there was a spring training game on today and all the pictures and videos of baseball. I talked about it last week. I'll be talking about it until the end of the season, honestly, how happy it makes me. But real quick, before our next panelist comes on, just to let everyone know that our special guest is going to be a little bit later tonight, probably the second part of the show. We'll try to have her on, so just stay tuned. And she had other stuff come up last minute, so hopefully we'll have her on for you guys in the second half of the show.
All right, sound like a plan. And we have another panelist we haven't had in a while, but it's never, ever a dull moment when she joins us on the Ladies Night panel. All the way from, I can't say warm Florida because we're warm here in the St. Louis area, so shout out to us for that, right? But she happens to be oh, you just want me to bring her on now? Okay, my bad. Okay, Annie, come on down. Butterball can't wait. Bring it on, Annie.
Had to put on my Baptist finger. Hey, everybody.
With the Pirates hat.
Of course.
With the Buccos.
We got Stros, we got Pirates, and of course Cardinals. Woohoo!
Exactly. Had to represent tonight.
What's going on, Annie? How are you?
I'm doing all right. It's not as warm as it should be for Florida in February, but I'm making
what was the temperature today?
It was in the late 50s or something. It was terrible. No, it was in the early 60s.
I was about to say, if it was in the 50s, it felt better here.
No, it was in the 60s. But still terrible. I mean, it's Florida.
Yeah.
It's not going to be warm. Why are we even here?
Because we're warm up here for the winter time. So, I just brought it up here. We're feeling the 60s. We love it. Bring more of it. How about that?
This is unseasonably cold. But yeah, I'm doing all right.
Buddy, we haven't football. Not Bunny, I'm sorry. Annie, we haven't seen you since football, so I saw the little hat switcheroo in your video for the promo. Hello, Miss Dub. We don't gotta get too into it, but what happened? How did you take it?
I was great. I mean, at the start of the season, I had picked the 49ers from the NFC, and I had picked either the Ravens or the Chiefs for the AFC, and I thought the 49ers would win. And until they stifled Steve Wilkes and didn't let him call a defense that he wanted to call. I could have predicted the winner from the very beginning. So I actually feel really good about myself that I picked the final two and was only a quarter away from being correct. But of course, I was rooting for, Pat Mahomes. I love consistent greatness. So I was glad that he won. So yeah.
Well, what about your favorite team? How about them Cowboys? Now everybody got on the bandwagon.
Why are we even?
Saying that's our team. You represent the Buccos. You represent the Cowboys, right? And it seems like everybody's on their bandwagon, and that playoff game happened year after year. They keep disappointing you fans. Bless your hearts.
This is why I don't come back.
This should be right. You should come back. You'll be like, well, at least I got a football team. I'll be like, yeah, I don't care. We still gotta look at the facts that the Cowboys still love showing up and disappointing.
It is basketball season. I'm ready to talk about my team. We're looking good right now. So
and that team
All-Star Week, the Clippers.
And you know what? I was really
Before
surprised.
we get into that, though, I want to say something. Prayers to whoever, all the stuff that happened in Kansas City last week. They're just trying to celebrate a championship, and negative stuff comes into the world again. So prayers to everyone that was affected. I know there's one life that was lost, and a lot of kids were injured, which is depressing as hell. So prayers to them, and hopefully everyone, I think they're all recovered well, but I feel like we should at least mention that.
And
but now you guys can keep going at it.
Yeah, and I think that it's tragic that the perpetrators themselves were young. I mean, they were barely adults. And so it was a bunch of teenagers. And so I think overall that whole situation is tragic. So,
and honestly though, like, shouts out to the people that interfered and risked their lives, preventing these kids, like you said, they were pretty much kids, from doing any more damage. It was just fans going there on their Valentine's Day and just try to enjoy themselves at a championship parade, and they helped, get them. So, but yeah, we just figured we say something about that, because obviously that was a big, depressing, sad moment last week. But do you guys want to continue on with your bickering? Let's start. Let's start the show.
I don't consider it bickering. I just say it's a meeting of the minds that agree to disagree. That's all.
Not at all. Football season been over. We're in basketball season. All-Star weekend just happened.
Wait, after football season been over, if the Super Bowl just wrapped up less than 2 weeks ago.
That's been over. And the
has not been over
for like a month.
While we celebrate Black History Month, the Super Bowl, couple of playoff series was in the same month, man. It's not been over. No. If you just said because the Cowboys lost, it's
over a month. Like, this is over.
Well, I wish I could move on as fast as you,
talk
Annie.
About the hottest in sports topics and what's going on in sports now. We bringing up games that were lost in like mid-January.
That makes a difference, because we could talk about the Cardinals' loss of a season last year. We could talk about that to get ready for spring training.
No, stuff is happening now.
Right, but Gabby Douglas is now for baseball, specifically the Cardinals.
This weekend.
We're looking at how that last season went. So you still can talk about the past and talk about the present now. That's all. Free agency is around the corner. The draft's around the corner for the football, so you don't really not talk about it. It's just certain topics. But here nor there, you want to segue to baseball and your Buccos paraphernalia. How do you think the Pirates season is going to look?
We're going to win the pennant. I don't understand this question.
I don't understand.
What are we even talking about?
You know what, buddy? You got that cup out. Let's do our first segment, and I'm sure the more Buccos talk will happen.
What are we even talking about?
No, please, Annie, since it's been a while, do spill. What is in your cup, honey?
I've got some flavored water. That's it. I've also got like a Celsius over here, which is more flavored energy water. And then I've got regular purified water. So it's just
we got every type of water there is. I love
all
Celsius.
the waters. I got them. So that's what's in my bottles and cans.
Well, since you're drinking a lot of water in those bottles and cans, what topic has, your attention? Just like the water has your attention.
Man, okay, so here's the thing. Let me tell y'all something. I am tired of grown men complaining about the All-Star game. Like, get over it. These people are not going to be elbowing each other in the noses and nuts just so that y'all can get one extra basketball game. Like, they don't care. It's not incentivized enough. Basketball is more of a sport where people follow players than teams. And so they don't have real rivalries with each other. It doesn't matter if it's East versus West. It doesn't matter if it's backyard rules and you pick teams. Like, nothing is going to cause them to be out there. And the thing is that grown men will say, like, oh, well, in the 90s, they used to play defense. And I've been watching some Jordan tape lately, me and a friend. And it's like, defense where? Like, what are y'all actually looking at? Like, yes, there were some amazing defenders. But that wasn't everybody. Everybody wasn't playing like lockdown defense or whatever. I understand scoring wasn't as high, but one, the 3-point shot wasn't as prolific. Two, the pace of the game wasn't the same. So it's just like, just quit crying about it. Watch it or don't watch it. Who cares? It's an all-star game. Like, get over it. They're not going to hurt themselves. So that's my main thing is people need to stop complaining about the all-star game. Otherwise, I loved the Sabrina and Steph 3-point competition. That was dope to see. I love the respect with which it was handled. Interestingly enough, I didn't see too many like trolls making too many comments about it being a woman or anything like that. Like, I felt like for the most part, people around it, and especially the NBA itself, the players, the WNBA, really respected it as like just the greatness of two shooters. I love what they're proposing for next year, what they tease, because then that means my husband will be competing in it next year. Klay Thompson, for those of you who don't know that I'm secretly married to Klay. So yeah, I had a ball with All-Star Weekend as always. And I'm also really excited to see Gabby Douglas. He did barely win. And that's part of what I think it was so interesting. I think if he had like blown her out or it wasn't competitive or something, I think that would have given trolls more reason to be like, see, women can't blah, blah, blah. But the fact that it was even close, to me shows like the strength of the event and the competition. But I'm also really happy that Gabby Douglas is returning to competition this weekend in gymnastics. I think that's going to be really dope to see her return, and I'm looking forward to watching some gymnastics this weekend. So
I got a question, and this is just, I wouldn't think this way, obviously, but let's say Steph didn't win that. That's when the trolls would have came out, you know, like they'd have been like, oh, you let her win, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that would have happened.
Steph is too much a competitor. I don't see him seeing her let her win. Honestly, he's too.
No, I know he wouldn't. I'm just saying if she actually did beat him, everyone on all the social medias probably would have been like, oh, he let her. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think people would have said he let her win. I think people would have said, well, she was shooting with a smaller ball, so it was easier. So they both shot from NBA 3-point range, but she used a WNBA ball, regulation ball. He used an NBA regulation ball. So I think people would have said like it was easier for her. But the reason why they're having this whole competition is because she broke his record in the WNBA 3-point contest. So I think people wouldn't have been like, oh, well, that came out of nowhere. She's not even good. I think this was some like DEI ploy or whatever. But I think that if people wanted to pick at it, if she had one, they would have talked about the size of the ball.
Gotcha. Okay. But I think it's cool though. NBA does a good job of, you know, like the NBA players and whatnot. They do a good job of trying to like endorse women, you know, in the WNBA, try to help them get paid more and whatnot. So I think it's cool. What about you, Bunny? Bunny? No. All right. I'm gonna go what's in my cup.
All right.
I got some funny ones for you.
What you sipping on?
First, you guys know Michelob. All right. Oh shoot. I sent Fred some pictures pre-show, and he busted out laughing. I almost said something different based off of these pictures. But anyways, so before Fred shows these, Annie, I don't know if you've noticed anything with baseball jerseys recently, but they're ass. I'm sorry, this is a kid's show, but they ain't good. And they look like giveaway jerseys. We touched on it a little bit last week. But now the pants came out. The pants are not pants. They're pretty see-through. And MLB is gonna have to do something. I know it's like a Fanatics team up or whatever, Nike, MLB, Fanatics, but Rob Manfred's got to step up and say something because we cannot go 162 games of what Fred's about to put on this freaking monitor. It's
Well, I don't know when we became a kids show, but are the pants hugging where they need to hug? Because
Girl, they clear.
no,
Basically, they clear.
yeah, they are see-through,
Okay,
Annie.
because
They are
low key,
See, straight through 'em, okay?
The best bodies. Low key, baseball players have the best bodies. So if they hugging the way they need to
listen.
hug, I ain't mad at
I
it.
don't disagree with all that, but the pictures that are out there, Annie.
I gotta see. Are we Magic Mike in baseball pants? Because I'm okay with
It's
At
that.
this
so
point, that's
bad,
what they're
Annie.
going for. I really see them doing it.
I
don't
definitely
know.
think
Extreme training, and they haven't even said they're going to fix it or anything.
I think we should make them tear away. So
Oh,
that, like,
another
instead of flipping a bat, you just tear away your pants before you start running the bases. I throw them in the stands. Love it.
the funny is with how bad they are, apparently there's even a shortage of them now. We're like a first full week into the spring training season and there's a shortage of these pants.
Because the people are scooping them up?
I don't know. I don't even know if Smooth's going to show this or not, but I don't know if it's... All right.
Oh. Wow. That is... Okay. All right. That's not the best angle, I will admit. That's not the best angle. Yo, why we had to pick a pirate to show bending over though? Is that a pirate?
That's a Padre.
Oh, that's a Padre. Okay, well he's showing you he's the poppy. So
Oh my gosh. I sent him another one. I didn't know if Smooth was going to put like a censorship on this or not, but
oh wow. Okay. You know what? Be free. I support this. This does not belong in the what's in your cup segment because clearly these people aren't wearing cups.
I know I was trying so hard to think of something.
So there is
funny
in fact nothing in your cup. They are cupless.
I was trying so hard to think of something. My husband's really good at coming up with stuff like that. I can't. I wish I could be, but yeah, it's bad.
I was just making sure I wasn't saying things. My facial expression is like, is that what it's? Wow.
So, opening day is like in a month. Manfred, do something. You're here until 2029. Oh my gosh, that's depressing. Do something right for once in your life and fix this because this is awful. And there's a shortage of them. So, anyways, that's besides baseball. This is something that's got everyone's attention in all of baseball.
It's a hard
and maybe going to the other sports as well because of uniform. That's a hot topic.
Yeah, Annie doesn't know what to think right now.
No, I said it was a hard hitting topic in baseball now.
Yeah. I saw, what was it, man? I could probably find this real quick. So some of the this is what I hate. Now that Twitter is X, I can't say, did you see that X that someone made? That sounds so weird, you know? Where's it at? Oh my gosh, hold on. Fanatics baseball pants gonna be in lingerie section at Spencer's by the end of the season.
I love that. And now I'm even more convinced that they should be tearaways.
Oh.
Girl, you back to the tearaways again.
I'm back to the tearaway. I actually love this for them. I think that I love that everybody.
Our producer keeps bringing it back. He's talking about the expression, but he keeps bringing it back.
Every player will start every at bat with 2 balls.
Oh my god!
Maybe they're trying to get more women engaged in the game. This is how they're doing it. With the
no, I don't.
Clear.
The NFL had Taylor Swift to get women, well, white women, get women to watch football, and MLB was like, "Who can we get?" And they were like, we don't know any famous singers, but
They don't, but when Usher did the halftime show, baby,
they were like,
he had a tearaway shirt on. Okay.
We can put on display. So the world is topsy-turvy right now. Beyonce's doing country music. Padres are letting they juniors.
What is going on with the world? What is going on?
Baseball players are tucking like drag queens. This is the world is topsy-turvy. I'm loving it.
Now you going somewhere with this, Andy. You going somewhere. I'm here for
maximum chaos. I love that it was tucked though. He was like, I may not be wearing a cup, but that doesn't mean I have to be protected. So he tucked and rolled.
Maybe they're trying to get another market, not just women, but people in the LGBTQ community. You talking about tucking and stuff?
Really, this is for everyone.
At this point,
this is
hockey.
Everybody's gonna win looking at their uniform somehow. Okay.
Hockey always does that. Hockey is for everyone. Now baseball is for everyone.
Baseball is too.
I don't know what he's talking. Oh, or lack thereof.
Their baseball cup, football cup, any cup. Yeah, guys.
Oh, Miss Annie.
All right, are you ready, Miss Williams? You may not want to.
Oh, there's the first one, Miss Dove. Oh Lord. You know, it reminds me, Rush Hour 2 is one of my favorite movies all time. And I like when Carter's like, wait, I didn't get a good look at that. That's what Miss Williams just reminded me of.
She did not get a good look at it. Run it back. Okay, run it back a couple more times. I got you, Miss Dub. I got you.
Oh Lord. Anyways, y'all, I don't know.
It's ladies' night for a reason, honey. Woo.
Oh, yeah, Miss Dub.
I'm here for it, Miss Dub. Shout out to you, Mr. Fred.
That is so funny.
Thank you for your honesty.
All right, Bonnie, it's your turn.
Yeah, well, how do I come back from what's in my cup based off of what we just seen on the screen the last few minutes? And of course, Andy already touched on the All-Star game, tired of the grown men crying, which I understand. What else topic we could touch on that we didn't get talked about yet? Of course, hockey, kind of back to Andy. Or even Joe Blow, you can chime in. So what's in my cup? We had the NHL All-Star game a couple weeks prior to the NBA. And they did theirs a little different. They do like their skills stuff on Friday night and the game on Saturday night. So I was just curious why they don't do it on a whole weekend. They're missing a day of stuff. But besides that, anything else in my cup to talk about? We got March Madness around the corner. I'm getting ready for that. And speaking of March Madness, I'm still sad about Mizzou, the AD leaving. To shout out, she was a true pioneer. You know, it's not only a handful of women AD on D1, D2, or D3. And the fact that Francois D was not just a woman AD in the SEC, a big school with the big imprint on what she did and what she could offer. It's just read Francois. Sorry, I flip-flopped it. I was really shocked, but then when I read more about it, I was like, I can see why. It's unfortunate, but of course, it's still a coveted position at Mizzou to be the AD, but she's going to her alma mater, Arizona. And once the oversight committee got created, I was reading that was probably like the straw that broke the camel's back. In the 3 years she's been in Mizzou, she had a record donation. She changed some of the stadium layout, and she hired a black baseball coach from Mizzou, which they've never had before ever. And the fact that they still want to get an oversight committee, and they felt like she needs somebody else to report to. She's over all of athletics. Why does she still need to report to somebody else besides the president? So I understand what her reasoning on leaving, if that's truly the reason. But like I said, reading different articles, it was kind of insinuating that. So it's unfortunate, but much success to her future endeavors in Arizona, because they have a lot of mess to clean up over there. But again, I'm sad that she's leaving, but I'm glad she did make an imprint. And again, ladies' night, she's a true pioneer. And I hope and pray if Mizzou doesn't hire another woman as AD, there's someone in the background that's almost there and ready to get on the forefront to be an AD and lead a D1 school. There you have it.
I got a question just because you mentioned All-Star game as well. Is basketball your guys' favorite All-Star weekend? What sport's your favorite? Because I know that was a big topic of discussion all over social media because, like you said, there's grown men crying and whatnot. I've never watched. I haven't seen like clips on social media of the NBA weekend, but I haven't like sat down and watched one. So, like, what's your guys' favorite?
Out of all the sports, you're saying the favorite?
Yeah, out of the big sports, baseball, hockey, football's whatchamacallit for the Super Bowl, and then the NBA.
Well, it used to be NBA. I mean, I can still say that because I like the skills competition with NBA All-Star Weekend. The dunk contest is being watered down, damn near garbage. The game, All-Star game itself, again, it's gotten down too, but definitely the skills competition is still there to me, so I like that. You know what? NFL tweaked their All-Star since, you know, it's a Pro Bowl. Not tweaking, not just change the rules. It's flag football style instead of just tackle. I think a lot of people with this very, you know, aggressive, rough sport, you can't handle all that at the end of the season. Maybe NBA didn't take their handbook. I mean, pay their handbook.
I don't like any of them.
You don't like any of them?
No, I'm not here for frivolous stuff. I want to see competition, and I would prefer if All-Star Weekend, like if they honored the people selected as All-Stars, because I understand that like impacts incomes for people. So I still think All-Star should be named. We should still revere them. People can use it as a data point for their conversations about who's the GOAT and top 5 and all that other stuff. But one, I love that Mac McClung has won the dunk contest the last 2 years. And I actually think he would get better dunks if they were not NBA players specifically, because then they'd be willing to take more risk. And if you had a game that was like a kind of like the Rising Stars game, but not people with actual NBA contracts, where it was just like G League Unite and some of the other like development leagues, and maybe NCAA players could enter now that they're actually allowed to be paid. And it was kind of like that type of competition that happens that like Jimmer Fredette wins every year with like his old like Utah teams or whatever. But before like an NBA audience, or that the dunks were like YouTube dunks where people were like jumping off trampolines and like doing wild stuff where they don't have like not just millions of dollars, but I think what people miss about players now is that they are immediately brands. And like one NBA player's money is not just that person's salary. They typically have multiple people on their payroll. They need whole teams. They are diversifying their money streams, so they have other business ventures. And so you're not just risking like your basketball career by going out there. You're risking like your whole brand and your whole business. So I would love for them to move completely away from NBA players in total, other than to honor them. I also heard somebody else mention the idea of like, because of the success of the in-season tournament. See, Miss Williams, you and I, in sync. I heard somebody propose that like the in-season tournament culminates during All-Star Weekend. So instead of crowning the champion when they did, that they kind of spread the games out even further in terms of what qualifies you, and then kind of have like a semifinal on like the Thursday or Friday night of All-Star Weekend. And then that Sunday have like the game to crown the in-season tournament champion. Because then that game actually becomes meaningful in terms of progressing towards what people ultimately are trying to progress towards, which is an NBA championship and not an all-star game championship or MVP or anything like that. So I liked that idea when I heard it. But I mean, I don't really watch any of the all-star events because one, I'm not interested in seeing athletes do things other than their sport. So like, I don't want to see, as much as I love Micah Parsons, I don't want to see him have a dodgeball competition against TJ Watt. Like, I don't care about that. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of like exhibition games and events with people who play the sport for real. So
Obviously, I like I watch all the other stuff like from what I see on social media, but the one that I obviously get excited about the most is baseball because you got the draft around that time, you got the futures game, so you can see all the kids that are in the farm system play. Then you got the home run derby, and then the All-Star game. And the All-Star game used to be a little more, I don't know how to say it, I guess intense because whoever would win, the AL or the NL, would host. They would have home field advantage of the World Series. I'm kind of happy they don't do that anymore because, and this is as a Cardinals fan because the AL won like 20 years in a row. but yeah, so I mean, I always like that one because there's a lot to it. But yeah, hockey they did a lot more like, hey, you're gonna win money this time, obviously incentives and whatnot. But baseball's always been, I think, the best in my eyes. But I'm biased.
But Jumbo, I heard it was even pushed back with the baseball with home field advantage if you win the baseball All-Star game, that those players still didn't like it and try to be more competitive because of that was at stake.
Well, yeah, so that
a handful of players like on roster, maybe 4 people would be affected by that because everybody else is in the World Series. So there was pushback on that, even though they did it, and you see they went away with it. I'm thinking, I don't want to skip segments, but something that I would change if I was commissioner, but we may not go with that for, is if incentive financially won't do it for you, you already should be feeling privileged. You're playing in a league that pays you money, whether it's the league minimum of $1 million or however many millions you get. But if you're an all-star, y'all are definitely getting paid a lot of money. So is it because you don't want to get injured, all this and this and that? If enough players are saying that, only way I can see them wanting to do not just a dunk contest, but even an all-star game, put it in their contract. If it's not in their contract, have low expectations and either get rid of the all-star game, still keep the dunk contest, it's whack, and the skills contest, but get rid of the actual all-star game. And just say, hey, you get the honor of being picked as an all-star, but you're not going to actually play the game because most of y'all don't try to show up to take it serious anyway. So why waste everybody's time and money? That's my 2 cents on it.
because they still make money. Like, so that's why the NBA won't do away with it. Like, I know that people compare NBA ratings to NFL ratings, and the NFL dwarfs anything going on with the NBA, but that doesn't mean the NBA doesn't make money. So people still watch it. People still go to Vegas. It still draws sponsors. It still gives them, part of the reason why players say that they don't like the game is because before the All-Star game just used to be a game. Then it was like skills competitions in the game, but now it's like a whole, they spend all week promoting, they do special events, they do fundraisers, they're doing commercials. Like, they have a full schedule for everything else to promote the NBA, like Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then Sunday, it's like, go play hard in a basketball game that doesn't mean anything, right? And so, like I said, either turn it over to people for whom, even though they play for money now, it's not meaningful enough to everybody who's in it. So, like I said, making an all-star team is already in people's contracts. That's why I wouldn't say do away with all-stars. But in terms of an actual exhibition game, then just have people for whom that financial incentive is actually meaningful, rather than saying like, we want y'all to play a competitive game on Sunday, but then we run you into the ground Thursday through Saturday to promote the league and to do promos and charity events and interviews and all this other stuff that helps to build the league, and then go hard on a game on Sunday. Like, so the NBA is not even like setting them up for success if people did want to play. And it's an 82 game season. You're trying to cut down on people resting in season, and then you're taking away the one break that they get in an 82 game season. So I would also be like, this would be like if you took a week of vacation from work and they were like, hey, you should feel privileged to work here, so come volunteer on a day during your vacation. You only get 1 week vacation during your year, and we still want you to give back 2 or 3 days of that for free just because we think you should feel honored to have a job. So we're going to have you come in on your days off. Like, that's why it's not meaningful, and you would have to pay me way more than like a fraction of my salary to get me to do my job on my vacation, especially if I'm going to be penalized for taking sick days during the rest of the year, right? So the NBA is not setting them up for success. I think it's looking as with most things in professional sports, people are always looking at millionaire players instead of billionaire owners as the problem, instead of being like, hey, if y'all just stop being greedy, maybe people would have energy for an all-star game. Or, you know, if y'all didn't need to line your pockets with the money that you still get because it's not a part of the revenue share, like, then you just wouldn't have this at all. You would just name all-stars, since it is in guys' contracts, and just leave it at that.
But I look at it this way. I, of course, did not put my life on the line every day as a first responder, as a salesperson that has to travel on flights every other day. I'm not a minor. I'm looking at everyday careers that people have to put their life on the line and do physical workouts, and compare that to a professional player. So the regular person that still puts their life on the line, does a lot of physical activity, a lot of traveling, does not have to be scrutinized under social media and media like the people that we're talking about, professional athletes. So there's a trade-off, but they still do some stuff that's gruesome to your body and gruesome day to day, and the pay difference is tremendous. So when people complain about, oh, these millionaires complaining they still can do the game they love, or they gotta do this and this and that, it's physical wear and tear on their body. After a few years, yes, but again, the same thing that the miner that's mining these coal mines that we need stuff for them, the same first responders who are literally, we're talking about in major cities and in rural towns, putting their lives out on the line. There's people who are in these same similar situations. You got dads and moms who are sales reps on planes every other day. I talk to them all the time for my regular job. I talk to them always on the road. Yes, they miss their families too. And they're just trying to eat and provide for them, but they're not on the same pay scale as the other people. And they don't get 3 months, 4 or 5 months off throughout the year, unlike NBA players. NHL players, similar. They don't get all that time off. So I hear you, but at the same time, it's like it's a trade-off. And again, nobody's forcing anybody, whatever career path you take, for the most part, you get to pick. Nobody's forcing an NBA player, NHL player, NFL player to do it. Some said, hey, that was the quickest way to get out of whatever situation, or it's what they love. They're doing it, and then you whine. I mean, I complain about stuff about my job, but in general, I'm thankful that I'm not in a bad situation to where I'm an outside looking in. I'm in a comfortable home. I'm in it. So, yeah, it just, I think overall, and looking at, not the NFL, because they did, change, and I get their sport, but for the NHL, and I don't know if soccer has their big all-star like that, but yeah, I just took the competitive nature you had outside of. You don't want to get injured because you got a contract year coming up. I get that. But you still got to be competitive. I mean, this is how you got to the game, is being competitive. Nobody comes to any professional sport being lazy. Like, that only lasts so long. If you were half-assing it out, training and stuff, eventually it's going to be caught up to you and you won't be successful. So most of y'all put the time in to get here. What's wrong when the fans that are not making decent money but save up to go see you all perform, save up for an all-star game? Like, you can't give that in return. You can say the league is pimping y'all. You can say he's always making more than we are and doing less work. It's with the territory. I'm just saying.
You saving up and you're putting your family out so that you can go to Vegas to watch an exhibition game. Your family's making poor financial decisions. And I'm not going to
say that about a lot of other people and other things too.
Okay, then they're making poor financial decisions. That doesn't mean they have to change what they do.
Right. That doesn't mean that the professionals should be complaining. They get millions to do some of this stuff. And with
you're getting millions compared to billions. 1, 2. Why pocket watch other people? Like, instead of being like, oh, y'all get millions, these people don't make that. Join a union, help other people get paid more. Instead of being like, they shouldn't be happy. Right, that's why they get paid a percentage of the share, and not even what they're worth. So tell other professions who aren't happy and they want to make millions to unionize. That doesn't put the onus on.
But they are. So the police officers are in the union, firefighters aren't in the union.
Then they should be getting more money instead of complaining about basketball players and what their union got them. I don't even know who's making these arguments except for people who are unhappy with their job. And so then they're upset.
I'll look up some of the national sports media writers and people that are national, so they've been doing stuff for years.
Who are unhappy with their job. Otherwise, you would understand the financial workings where this is a small piece of the pie, a smaller piece of the pie being divided up among more people than the piece of the pie that goes to the ownership.
But if you're gonna cry a lot, you can always walk away, right? Like I said, regular people can
walk away from basketball instead of crying about it. I completely agree. Instead of crying about what they make, don't watch it. Don't engage with basketball then. If you don't like professional athletes making a share of the revenue they generate, don't watch them. Go watch firefighters fight fires if that's what people are interested in. But my thing is this, if you're talking about being competitive, the goal at the end of an NBA season is to become an NBA champion. So if you're like, I only get 82 opportunities plus the playoffs to exert all of my energy into getting the ultimate prize, why would I waste it on a vacation game at all? Like, your point speaks even more to them not playing in an all-star game if what they're trying to be is at their competitive peak for the real prize, which is an NBA championship. So why expend energy on vacation in a game that has no meaning if what you want to do is be at your peak for what you're trying to be competitive for, which is an NBA championship? Why even take that risk? There's a reason why NFL
fans that pick you don't get a say to see you, right?
Like ride motorcycles and stuff like that.
Because the fans pick you, so they should pick you. That's what you're saying, right? The fans are the ones picking the all-stars. So if they want to see these people perform, it's like the fans, a little bit of their salary is through fans paying or corporate sponsors, just a little bit. They don't get that right to see them in live in action.
But you can't afford it, then you can't afford it. And it's
what
not
about the people that can't afford it. Well, you know, a lot of the ticket sales are corporate sponsors.
It's probably cheaper for you to get to any NBA arena around you than it is to get to Vegas on All-Star Weekend, when hotel prices are up, when food prices are up, when you got big wigs there. You mean to tell me you can afford that trip, but you can't afford a drive to Memphis to go?
I think you're mixing it up. Vegas was a Super Bowl. In NBA All-Star Weekend,
Indianapolis, wherever it is, everything is higher. The hotels are higher, everything's higher. So you mean to tell me you're going to save up your money for that, put your family in such dire straits, you need to get on the internet and complain about it, instead of just going to a regular Pacers game, which is probably a lot cheaper. So I don't think we need to completely change an entire league to incentivize or to disincentivize people who don't have money spending it. That seems ludicrous to me. So
I guess the old school way was stuff wasn't out of reach for the average American like it is now. Like you heard about the Super Bowl ticket prices. The cheapest one was thousands. Like it's not meant for the average person. Right. The regular person that goes to a 9 to 5, it's not meant for them. It used to be that way. Now they want to make sure it's on the elite people that can afford it. So they purposely did it, and all this other stuff. They purposely don't care about the mom and pop people. The regular 74
neither is a college education, either as a house. I'd rather people get upset about that. People complain about the housing market before you complain about people getting a share of revenue that they generate. Okay, they're not getting a handout. They're not getting government subsidies. They get paid out of revenue they generate. If you really care about stuff being out of reach for the average American, write your congressperson about the disproportionate raise in tuition at public universities in comparison to average wage inflation over that same period of time. Get on the Fed about interest rates and corporate lending. Get on the Department of Housing and Urban Development website and raise some cane about how the prices of housing have not kept up with average household salaries. If your job is things being out of reach for the common person, basketball salaries and playing a game on your vacation day should not be the place where you spend your energy. So go run to your nearest congressperson, complain about things that affect the average Joe. And no, I'm sorry, that may not mean you get to watch a really expensive basketball game in person in Vegas. You'll be fine. If that's your concern, you've got bigger fish to fry and I hope that you're able to make progress on those things. But complaining about people getting a part of the revenue that they generate is not one of those things. You're looking in the wrong places.
Y'all, this started because I asked which All-Star Weekend's your favorite. It got serious every time. Every time. I was
Never
like,
go wrong.
I like MLB All-Star Weekend because I get to see the future come up. And then we got serious real quick. Real quick also, I have to remind everyone that special guests, we're hoping second hour of the show, second half of the show. So bear with us. Listen to Annie give you some knowledge. I feel like every time she comes on, I learn something new. So there's that. Bunny and her usually go at it, and I just sit here with my popcorn and watch it.
And Miss Dub said, obviously the answer is none of them. None of the All-Stars, huh? On the All-Star games.
Stop
You're not
asking
so
people to work on their vacation. Leave them alone. So
Hey, Joe Bo, remember I told you last ladies' night, I'm scraping by with my PTO. I gotta hold my breath for a few more months before it resets, okay?
You gonna use
If
it
my
for that
arm not
Usher
falling
concert though?
off, dude, I gotta show up, okay? Woo, child. Ooh.
that's terrible. You shouldn't have to endure that. So that's a fight to be fought. Not people.
Yeah, they always say you don't want to
bringing the
sit
revenue
here and deal
share.
with our PTO rules. You can take your act somewhere else and do luck with another company. I'm like, yeah, I could. But right now, I'm gonna try to pad up this retirement real quickly. So I'll be here. Like I said, I can gripe about a little stuff in there, but I am a privileged employee. Hey, it is what it is. So besides All-Star Weekend, we were going to touch on Caitlin Clark, the all-time scoring record for women's basketball. Yeah. So Caitlin Clark sealed the deal. Not just let me just get the scoring title, all-time record here. I mean, but I'm not just gonna do a 3-point. No, I'm gonna take it one for the real record book. I'm gonna take it past half court logo style and shoot it to get that score record. Okay. Shout out to Caitlin Clark for doing that. And I will say, look at the photo here of her and her teammates celebrating with her. Even before she did this, we've talked about what Dawn Staley has done at South Carolina. We talked about Coach Joe at Ole Miss. We're just talking about how ladies basketball definitely getting more and more looks. I mean, even with the whole battle last year between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, like it's definitely seeing more people talk about it in the everyday. And I'm here for it. Caitlin Clark breaking this scoring record just adds on to it. Shout out to her. We'll see how they do with March Madness.
So those are some cool shirts. I like that. You break it, you own it. That's dope.
Yeah, but so what are your thoughts, Jobo? Even if you don't, look at basketball, but
yeah, I don't pay attention to really any basketball as much. But if I see it on social media, catches my eye. And Brendan's actually the one that he's like, "Oh, did you see this? Caitlin Clark, broke the." The scoring title, whatever. So I was like, oh, that's cool. We watched the video together, and like you said, it was from like half court, so it's exciting. It's women making some sort of positive headline in sports or just anywhere, not just sports. I say sports because we're a sports talk show, but women making positive headlines anywhere, I like to see it.
Okay, I'm here for that. And what about you, Miss Annie? Your thoughts about Miss Caitlin breaking that all-time scoring record?
Well, congratulations. I don't have much to say. I love Kelsey Plum. So, I was a little bit sad to see her record get broken, but anything that brings attention to, because here's the thing, people need to stop using the NFL as the standard for how successful anything else in sports is. And so even if it's like, oh, well, she did this. Oh, but the NFL has this many viewers. Oh, well, revenue at Iowa's increased this much. Yeah, but the Cowboys are worth $9.8 billion, which we are, again, the most expensive, most highly valued sports franchise. Once again, after the January audits. But it's just like, this can be celebrated. This can be good. Part of why there's a call for more exposure to women's sports is not because we think we found the next thing that's going to rival the NFL, but it's so that even if it's a niche markets should get to enjoy things that they love to. And so the visibility that I think has happened for women's basketball, both in college and in the WNBA over the last 2 years in particular, has been really good for basketball. And I think it answers a lot of the concern that people had kind of when UConn and Gino Ariama kind of started on their decline, and people worried that the only reason why people watched women's college basketball was to see how long UConn could keep their streak going. And once that dynasty fell, I think people thought it would fall off. And I think we see what it looks like when there are multiple contenders. Like LSU is constantly a story. You've got Iowa being a story. You've got South Carolina being a story. And I think the profile of the sport has increased even more now that there's not a singular team that people kind of have their eye out for. So I think it's great.
Oh yeah, you brought up a good point that you said once the UConn dynasty, which I don't know, has it been officially dismantled or they're just not a top two, but people are thinking once they were, not ranked number one and getting championship that everything will fall off. This is showing that clearly that's not the case. And like I said, especially with the little rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin last year, they had people looking, talking, even with off the court stuff. Like, if you're in the media, whether it's good or bad, I mean, people talking about you, hey, sometimes some people say, bad publicity is still publicity. So they're still talking about you. And again, with Angel Reese, you would think LSU have had any championship in their school, right? At least in another sport, not basketball, football, baseball, nothing. That women's basketball team, the first team to bring a championship of any sport to their school. So those women should definitely have their fan base and their stands supporting the room the more and then some. Even when Angel Reese graduates, hopefully still keep recruiting, get it on. You keep the pipeline going, so it won't all be just in one school like it was at UConn. We know what Don Staley is doing at South Carolina. Like I said, Coach, you're going to have more and more programs built up. Baylor was compared up too. I mean, it's just more than better to come. So I'm also looking at it as a parallel, women's basketball rising and men's going down some. And I'm saying for men's basketball, college level, because of NIL, you keep hearing so much about that, more negative than positive. But it's from whom? Just the coaches? Is it the players? I don't hear that much pushback on the women's side of basketball, though. So the tide may be turning. On the collegiate level, it is to be determined.
Yeah, and I think that stat about the women's basketball team bringing the championship to LSU, maybe that was for women's sports, because LSU has definitely won a lot of football championships as recently as Joe Burrow's last national championship for football. They're 4 years ago. How long has Joe Burrow been in the league? Feels like forever. It's probably 4 years ago that LSU won the national title in football. 4 years. Okay. Yep. That's right. But yeah, I do think that college basketball is taking a hit for men's basketball is taking a hit for a number of reasons. That women's college basketball is not experiencing. But I also think that college basketball, like the NBA, was starting to come as much about the players as it was the teams. And Joe is getting lit up over there. Trying to stay focused while it's happening, and it's not working. But yeah, so I think when you see players leaving one program and going to another one, that of course that puts a sour taste in unhappy people's mouths. Whereas people don't feel that way about women's basketball. Even with Haley Van Lith leaving Louisville and going to join LSU, which had just won a championship, the talk wasn't oh, well, she must have done that for NIL, and it wasn't negative. It was oh, okay, they're trying to reload or whatever. People already feel positively about Haley because she was mentored by Kobe. So like it just didn't have the same impact as like a star men's college basketball player leaving and going to another team where people immediately make it something like negative and about being greedy and money chasing and not having loyalty and those sorts of things. So yeah.
Interesting. Let's see. We need to circle back on the topic from earlier regarding Steph versus Sabrina at the All-Star Weekend competition. With that matchup, what do y'all think that impact could have on future All-Star weekends?
I mean, I know that they plan on, at least tentatively, like running this back and maybe doing like a 2-on-2. But yeah, I would love to see more. One, I just don't want to see NBA players play a meaningless game. Like, that's just not interesting to me. But if you're like, we're going to have WNBA players versus NBA players do skills competitions, hey, baby girl, do like skills competitions, right? So this isn't like, I think WNBA players can beat NBA players, like the physicality, height, all of that stuff. Like, but if you have them all do like a skills competition or whatever, right? Like, that's probably more of an even playing field. That could be fun or interesting. Or I've heard some people talk about doing like 1v1 for the to make NBA All-Star competitive instead of like full teams. Maybe you could do 2-on-2 where it's a WNBA player and an NBA player matched up against someone. So if you have like Steph and Asia Wilson matched up against Sabrina and KD or something like that, and have them play like a 2-on-2 or something like that. Like that could be whoever like the WNBA All-Stars are partnered with an NBA All-Star, and then playing like 2-on-2 matches. Like that could be interesting. So yeah, I think there could be ways to revisit what All-Star Weekend looks like and having that future include women.
What about other sports though? Since you're the champion in football, how would you do something like that? You know, include women in the Pro Bowl.
I would love for the seasons don't line up because the women's football championships happen in July. But I would love to see like, especially the two major women's football leagues, the WFA and the WNFC, like being honored during the Super Bowl. Like, you know, they have, like, it was a beautiful moment to have the coaches from the team in Hawaii come out for like the coin toss at the Super Bowl. Like, why not have like the, what's her name? Cahill, the quarterback for the Boston Renegades, who won the WFA championship. Like, have them be a part of the coin toss as like the women's football champions or something. Or like even right now, like international women's football competition is happening. They just had their world championship in Mexico, I think. So there were like 8 different countries that participated. Of course, the U.S. sends a team. It's often comprised of people from the 2 major leagues. But like, yeah, if there were a way to, again, having them do skills drills and stuff like that. Like there are definitely women quarterbacks in both leagues that can like the quarterback competition that where they like hit targets and all that stuff. Know plenty of women quarterbacks who could do that. So like doing drills or like partnering people up. Like the leagues have whatchamacallit, our own version of like all stars and stuff. So partnering them with NFL, like all pro, all team stars, and you know, doing drills and stuff together. Or you know, you can have like a shuttle run competition. So it's like, you know, an NFL wide receiver and a WFA wide receiver, like a tag team, like shuttle drill for time. You know, like male and female teams partnered up together and doing like those types of things. Like I think that would help to elevate the profile of the game. And I think it would draw in attention, even if people are hate watching, because there are also just people who like to watch women fail. So even if it was just a hate watch, it would still get eyeballs. And like Bunny was saying before, like even bad publicity is publicity. People would know that there was a league. And us getting this year, the WFA championship is now going to be shown on ESPN2, right? We went
Okay.
from being shown at all to be on like,
That's big.
yeah. So now we're going to be on ESPN2 this July. And they're actually televising a few other games. I think 3 Slam games will be televised, or 2 of them. Definitely a rematch with Boston will be televised. And one of the games against Minnesota, I think. So it'll be across like some streaming services. And so all of that has helped just by people knowing that we exist and getting eyeballs, even if people are watching skeptically to see like, do we actually play real football and those sorts of things. So,
yeah, I know. Sorry, I was going to say, I know like with the other 2 major sports, hockey, not this year, but like the last 2 to 3 years, they had I can't remember her name. I think it was the captain from Team USA in women's hockey. She participated in the speed competition on the skills competition, which is cool. You know, just to get, you know, she was wearing, I think, her USA jersey, just, you know, get their name out there. And then baseball hasn't done anything in a long, long time. But I think it was whenever the All-Star game was in Wrigley in Chicago, Jenny Finch was probably like between 01 and 05, so a long time ago. But there was, you know, there's videos, I'm sure you've seen it on social media before, of her striking out Albert Pujols, you know, like they couldn't catch up with the fastball or the rise ball. So I don't know, just little things like that, you know. It doesn't have to be some crazy competition, but just putting that out there and showing that, you know, women can do this stuff too. They may be a little bit different, but they can do it too. You know, and like you said, there's going to be people that watch it just to, you know, to hate on it. That's how it's going to be. It's again, not that I think it's okay or agree with it, but I don't think that's ever going to change. It's going to be like that for forever. There's some people that have come around to it, but it's always going to be a thing. But it'd be cool just to get it out there. And, you know, I didn't know that there was professional women's football until I met Annie, you know, so like, it's cool.
I was also thinking for the All-Star game for basketball, this is only a little dent it could help though. Take the refs out of it. So, you know, you do pickup ball, people call their own fouls, this and that. It's going to be a lot of one-on-ones, but that'll help pick up and get a little interest in it. And same thing with hockey. I mean, everybody can have all the little refs on the side and just watch it. Like, they're not on vacation, so that could be their vacation a little bit. Just showing up, but don't have to do anything, just watching. Knowing people are fouling or cross-checking too hard. But, I mean, I'm just thinking of different ways. And you got to eventually progress with the times and tweak stuff as the game and stuff evolves. So, that's my 2 cents. So we can, speaking of basketball, we can do it on the WNBA. So we can do Who Run It, WNBA version. Dum, dum, dum.
Smooth throwing me a curveball because I had one just. Yeah, this is on you guys.
No, wait. Well, please do share, honey.
Well, I had one for not the WNBA. I had one for baseball because, you know. But this, I don't know, because other sports might have it. Like, I think football might have a deadline for free agency. I don't know if I'm wrong or right. But baseball needs a free agent deadline, I think, because there's still like 4 to 5 Scout Boards free agents out there that are or should be making pretty good money, and it's almost March. And I understand Bryce Harper, whenever he signed with the Phillies, didn't sign until March, and Manny Machado didn't sign until like late February. But those guys are on different levels. You have, you know, Montgomery and Blake Snell, Cody Bellinger, Adam Duvall. I'm trying to think of who else is out there that's like a bigger name, but like, what is going on? You know, I don't know what's happening. There was a spring training game today, and there's still these guys out there as free agents. So something needs to change with that. I think, Manfred, come on, dude. You're here until 2029, like I said earlier. So something's got to change because this is getting ridiculous.
You changed his name. I thought it was Man Fraud.
Man Fraud, Manfred, whatever. Dude's a loser, and he needs to change it.
Tell me how you really feel.
I just think
on the clock, buddy.
I just think it's silly. Like I said, like a lot of people know who Blake Snell is, and Jordan Montgomery just had the best year of his life. You know, he pitched great for the Cardinals, and then he went to the Rangers and pitched really good for them, and they don't win the World Series with that guy, without that guy. Now the Rangers, who won the World Series, are saying they don't have money to bring him back. I don't get it. I don't get it. I think there needs to be some sort of a deadline because, like, they're just sitting there floating around. Like, what are they doing? They're gonna get paid regardless, so I don't know. And now you're gonna have people out there that are gonna wanting to buy these new ugly ass jerseys with their names on it. You know, I don't know. Something needs to change with that.
So do you feel like I know in the NBA and the NFL, like I think that free agency just happens at like the wrong time of the year. Do you think that free agency in baseball just happens at the wrong time in the year?
I'm not sure because I think free agency opens like as soon as the World Series is over. You know, or like shortly after. So I don't think, and the World Series ended in November. You know, it's February 22nd. Smooth asked in the chat though, is it on the owners or the agents? I think Scott Boras, the dude's greedy.
The money making agent right there, baby.
And I hate saying he's greedy because he's just doing his job. That's literally what he's paid to do.
Why don't all the players hire him then? That's what I never understood. If he makes the most for all agents, at all agencies and agents, he makes the most and gets his player. Why doesn't anybody else hire him?
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of fans and teams probably don't like whenever they hire him because this is what happens. And like he goes into the winter meetings and he pretty much talks crap on organizations, which again, I have done that before. The Cardinals piss me off. I'm sure the Pirates piss you off sometimes because they don't spend a dime. Yeah, they just locked up Mitch Keller today, but come on. You know, like you guys still
your season, but okay. Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be good. We'll let him go very soon. Trust me, he will not be a Pirate for long.
Dang.
They just locked him up, I think, for 5 years, but who knows? He could be traded by the All-Star break. Regardless, is like Scott Boras, he goes out there, like I said, he makes all these weird puns and says all these jokes at the winter meetings. He was talking up Tyler O'Neill at the winter meetings, saying the Cardinals don't know what they're doing with
Tyler. You want to talk about Tyler?
Anyways, so I don't know. I mean, and then I don't know if anyone's seen this, but I think his name's Tom Ricketts. But Ricketts with the Cubs, he was saying that pretty much him and Scott Boras don't get along, and it's very well known. Like they just don't get along, and that there probably may or may not be a reunion with Cody Bellinger because of it. And like, and this is another funny thing in regards to that is the Cubs ownership is talking like, hey, they literally came out and said, hey, the D-backs went to the World Series with 84 wins. Let's just see what happens. So now they sound like the Cardinals. So I don't know. So Cubs fans are mad, you know, because of that. So that's funny, but it's not good when you see big market teams like the Cubs saying things like that, and they're bumping heads with Scott Boras and whatnot. So I don't know. It's probably a little bit of both, Smooth. The agents and the owners, because the owners are blaming everything on, you know, TV contracts. He had the D-backs owner like threatening to move the D-backs out of Arizona recently, and then he took it back. Like you guys just went to the World Series, and you're talking about possibly leaving Arizona. So I don't know, man. It's all about the money, and they're all greedy, every single one of them,
but it's all entertainment too. That's what it's part of entertainment.
Fans don't matter. You know, the fans are the last. They're all the way down here.
They're probably making it to be elite to see these games in person. Hell, to subscribe, because once more of these games go on the YouTube streaming, or you know, you heard about the Power one that's about to come out between ESPN, Comcast, and somebody else. Like, again, they're not going to make it for the average person. Like, you need the average person to make your business and your sport thrive, but you also make it out of reach for average person. It's so oxymoronic, but it's working for now. How much longer is it going to be working?
Because TV contracts bring in more money than gate sales. and the revenue is split differently in TV contracts than gate sales. So they honestly don't care if you stay home. It helps them as long as you turn the games on. But let me tell you something. If you ever want to see a game in person, it is not out of reach. You could get 2 free tickets to a Pirates game with a fill-up at a Giant Eagle gas station. So they give those things away. They just start letting people in once the game gets underway. So you can always go to Pittsburgh and see a game for free. They might even pay you.
Not that bad.
Be
They'll
able
pay
to
you.
make some money as an extra. Just go in there, wear some black and gold, and you might make $5 to appear in a seat in the best stadium in the MLB. So that game will never be out of reach.
But what about, you know what I've heard, surprisingly, for the competitive football schools, those tickets aren't cheap either. Not the student section, because they're not going to be close to the action. But for the non-student, and the wait list is long. Like, they have season ticket holder lists that are years to get on. I'm like, damn. But they're complaining about NIL deals and athletes getting paid. You get all that money to these quote unquote amateurs. That's why I mentioned earlier, it's the NIL, depending on who you ask, you hear so much negative, but who's it coming from? I'm not saying it's not fair. We know that, but that's life. But then let's just look at it. That's like owners complaining, I gotta pay this player millions of dollars more, or who's with Sky Boris playing $1 million more. But sorry, your pocket's so pat, you can wipe your booty with your cash. Why? And throw it in the toilet, and you don't even care about it. So why does it matter? Like greed, like I said, I'm sitting there like, again, a hypocrisy. That's why I always go back to NCAA being what? A cartel.
Oh, no, didn't you just hear? The NCAA is about to get a huge windfall with EA Sports and their new version of the NCAA college football. A player can get $620 and a free copy of the game if they allow them to use their real name and image in the game. Ooh, $620.
Oh,
that is cheaper than some of the things we're talking about. But yeah, and some of these like Alabama, Texas, like probably like Tennessee, like those blue blood schools where like football's everything. People have to die before you get season tickets, and you can bequeath season tickets in your will. So like season tickets can be generational, where you're like, I leave my season tickets to my cat, Mr. Whiskers, or whoever you want to leave it to. So yeah, it takes forever to get on those lists, and money is being made hand over fist, but people will cry about paying the actual labor.
When you disrupt the norm, that's why. And we can take this away from just the money part of having to pay people to other stuff. You disrupt the norm of actually getting away with doing something else, it's a problem, and you want to outcry when people feel sorry for you. We can really take this outside of just sports and paying people, but here nor there right now. But all I say, I mentioned about the women's basketball and college basketball, and I see the tables turning. And we knew women's basketball is competitive, but it's definitely getting more light and cameras on it. So great for that. Men's basketball, it's the competition to me is still there, but again, people complaining, and the people specifically from coaches to ADs or whatever. Y'all get on board, y'all get a little bit fixed, and that's it. It's just people are not used to being outbidded. They used to doing stuff under the table to me, and now everything gets over the table. It's a problem now because there are more people involved, and you can't just, again, you're disrupting the norm. Anyway, we'll see how that plays out. Real quickly, though, the NBA did say that their G League Ignite, they have to look at that and think about if it's sustainable to have that team, because one perk of being on that G League Ignite team, you got to get paid a little some exposure to NBA style ways, and even now getting ready for the NBA draft. And now that you have people getting paid on a collegiate level who gets the same exposure to scouts and get all the media you need, is it still sustainable and even makes sense to have that? So that is another to be determined. But in the meantime, between time, ladies, unfortunately, our special guest that was going to come on is still being held up at our basketball game, so she will not be able to join us tonight. We'll just have to reschedule, see if we can get her on the show another time. So we do apologize for the absence of our special guest, Miss Brianna O'Connor. Hope she does have a great game. and we're hoping to reschedule her for a later date, and we will definitely let you all know. If anybody else wants to say something before we log off, let me know. Jobo, Annie?
Go Pirates.
Oh Lord. Look at her. Okay. She's all ooh. We need her like on an Era commercial doing the
And Joe, quit being stingy. Drop the link where the people can get them pants.
Oh Lord.
You are keeping people from a happy belated Valentine's Day.
Pants to make them dance. What pants?
Oh my gosh.
Happy belated Valentine's Day, ladies.
Pants to make them dance.
Is that you wanting that, or is that Miss Dubs that's wanting that link?
I think everybody wants the link. We already discussed the MLB pants are for everyone. Okay?
Oh Lord. Well, hey, they have a shortage right now, so
we got to put in a back order, is what I'm hearing.
Yep.
I personally think that our producer Smoooth should get us some ladies' night baseball tearaway pants for us to wear on the next Super Show or something.
Oh Lord.
I feel like I should be getting a gift basket sometime soon from our producer. Tearaway baseball pants for ladies' night.
He's ordering them now. He's getting them now.
Just want ladies' night across the back, and then.
I'm here for it. Yeah, it was fun. Again, our special guest Brianna O'Connor couldn't make it. We'll have to reschedule her, but we still had a great show, ladies. I appreciate you all for hopping on here. Shout out to our producer Smoooth, who's going to get any those tearaways baseball style, you know. This show is going to be archived on the Roku channel. So just in case you like, they were on tonight, I didn't know. Don't worry, we got you. Roku channel. And also our listeners, Hot 365 Radio, we appreciate you because it's always hot. And of course, anytime you want to chime in with us, you can hit on to X, formerly Twitter, at 314 Sportstalk. Also, we're archived on the YouTube channel as well, Facebook and Twitter. We're all archived on all those platforms. But when you're on YouTube, make sure, please subscribe and click on that bell, baby. And you know why? Because anytime we go live, you will be notified. Also, this is a special edition Thursday night, but ladies' night is usually on the first Wednesday of the month. But the fellas get their shot too on the last Wednesday of the month. They're returning last Wednesday, which is next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, everybody. Oh, we're also on Twitch. I keep forgetting about Twitch. Twitch. But thank you, everybody, for watching or listening. Get ready for the fellas on next week on the Man Cave. And Smoooth, you can take us on out of here. Good night, everyone.